Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Feel relaxed. If you feel relaxed, I'll be relaxed. In a technology session, you never know what's going to happen. Well, actually, technology is very broad, and sometimes it's very deep as well. And different people have got different interests and different levels of interest as well. So I'm not sure what you're going to receive, but you'll know by the end, I hope. So I wanted to launch my PowerPoint. It's not very professional to have your PowerPoint slides visible like that before you actually start your talk. So, that's a bad start already. But I'm using a funny kind of setup here. Because of difficulties with technology this afternoon, I'm actually employing two laptops. So this one is actually remote desktoping into my other one down the back, which is doing most of the work. So I'm actually using Splashtop Personal to make the connection. And I can actually, from here, I could actually log into my home desktop computer, check my emails or whatever. But I'm not doing that now. So Brandon was getting you doing some actions earlier on. I suppose I should do that as well. You'd miss out if you weren't doing rabbits talking to each other. Or I won't get them dancing. That's a little bit difficult. You'd need training for that. But have you got a smartphone? Put your hand up if you've got a smartphone. Okay, a lot of hands going up. And yeah, we know that Ireland is pretty big into that type of technology. Have you got your smartphone with you? Okay, so I might make use of that later on. We'll do a little practical demonstration. But for now, what I want to do is I want to click F5 and we will get our presentation launched. Oh, there we go. Using technology, help and ideas. And I was taking those two words, help and ideas. And to give help, I want to pass on some of the things that I've learned, maybe tips and tricks. And about ideas, it's going to be some things that other people have been doing with technology. So by the time you get to the end, hopefully you'll have received something, if not from myself, from other people anyway. My name's Brian Donaghy. Helen and myself are the CEF workers in Sligo. And if I talk more about me, we'll run out of time. So let's go on a little bit further. I'm thinking of what your ministry is like. So it's like a blue apple, according to me. So if that's your ministry, working with children or young people, there's two ways that technology can help you with your ministry. And the first way is kind of like supporting it in some way. So you can see the robotic arm is taking hold of the apple. You can use technology to support your children's ministry. That would be things like for the administration side of working your ministry. I'll talk more about that later on. But the other way that technology could be in a children's ministry is more integrated, where part of that ministry itself is dependent on technology. Now, I don't know if you can see what's going on there. We've got a little LCD display, and you've got a momentary push button there embedded into your Apple. It's a little bit abstract. The point is, two different ways technology can help with your ministry, and I'll spend a little bit of time talking about those. I'm going to take a little poll on your smartphone. We've already done a physical poll. You put your hand up to say you have one, at least many of you have. So I'm going to walk through a little poll so that you can make a decision on what I might talk about, what I might focus on later on at the very end of our seminar. I'm going to talk about how technology can support ministry, and then technology within ministry itself. We'll take a look at the results of that poll, and then perhaps a practical demo of something, depending how time goes. Free gift. Oh, that will make you concentrate. But don't get too excited. This is not the Late Late Toy Show. You don't get spectacular gift, but there is one for everyone in the audience. What is the gift? It's a bit more like that. So a box you take down in the attic, you don't remember what's inside it. It could be your winter clothes. It could be something that's actually useful. But on the table at the front here, I have these little cards. And what I thought when I was preparing for this seminar, I thought that, yeah, there could be useful things people could learn, how they can improve in using technology. But what could we do in 40 minutes? I mean, sometimes you can barely get your laptop started in 40 minutes. So I thought what I would do is I would take some helpful tips and tricks for technology. I'd put them into YouTube videos, and I'd make them available to you, exclusively to you, and those doing the puppetry workshop upstairs. So you get a little card, and it has a QR code on it, and you can scan that. It'll bring you to my website, and from there, links to these videos. And what are they about? Well, they're tips and tricks for PowerPoint or Excel, or ways that I've also used custom coding to support ministry ideas. In fact, even this morning I was talking to Brandon, and he had a great idea for using a bit of code to do that. So I'm going to chat to him later on about that idea. All right, that's the basic outline of what was going on. I mentioned this poll that we're going to do on your smartphones, and I was thinking of one of the popular ways to do it is a commercial site called Survey Monkey. And there you can create a free account and you can do a simple little bit of polling, but it has got a lot of restrictions. And also, it's a little bit complicated to look at and to use. When you log in, you've got so many options, and then if you go to create a poll, still it's not that clear. I went for a classic poll, and then you've got to put your entries into it, and it's a little bit confusing. There is a sample poll that I made, but what I will do with you, instead of using SurveyMonkey, which gets expensive once you go beyond 10 responses, and hopefully we'll get at least 10 responses this afternoon, I'm going to use Google Forms instead. Now, I know that around Ireland, many people use Google Forms for receiving information. You can use them for application forms for your events, but also you can use them for simple surveys. So let me walk through a little presentation on using Google Forms. Now, this is where I hope the technology is working correctly. I have to end my show for now. And I'm going to launch my Chrome browser. I can just about see it at the bottom of my screen. Here it comes. Okay, so how do you make use of Google Forms? Well, you find a Google search engine, first of all. And if you've logged into your Google account already, it's going to be pretty easy to get to Google Forms. On the top right-hand corner, you've got this little pattern of 3 by 3, 9 little dots in a little shape there. When you click on that, you've got many different options of Google apps that you can run. And if I scroll to the bottom of that there, let's scroll down. Forms is the very last one. They're trying to hide it on you. They don't want you to know how powerful it is. So here we've got shortcuts at the top. Once I've clicked on Forms, you've got a very simple plus sign, and it says, start a new form blank. So we're not going to use a template of different ideas for surveys or forms. I'm just going to click on that plus sign. I've got a new untitled form. So I better give it a name that makes sense. Right, what is this called here? This is a Children's Ministry Conference 2022. The system is lagging a little bit. Well, there we go, we've got it. And I could describe the form here. So this is my simple survey. All right, and down underneath that, it gives us one question to start off with by default. It's called Untitled Question. I'm going to call it something like, which would you like? And I'll put a question mark in there. Our first option would be, let's say, PowerPoint. So if you are desperate to learn more about PowerPoint, when you complete the survey, you can choose that option. Next one could be Excel. Not accept, Excel. Let's add another option. How about videos? It could be more specific. It could be YouTube. How about YouTube channels? All right, YouTube. Another option would be, for online forms, recently we've been using something called Jotforms. So I'm going to put Jotform down there. What else could it be? It could be games. Games. How do you use games in ministry? It could be custom code, something about that. Oh, how about this dreaded one here? Zoom. Better put that in. Subconsciously, I must not have wanted to talk about Zoom, because as I was planning things, I didn't even think of doing a Zoom video. So there you go. Anything else I can think of at the moment? Games, all right. Yeah, there's one particular game that I've mentioned somewhere, Match the Pictures. It's very simple. There is a poor network connection, my computer tells me. All right. Match the baton. That's not it. Match the pictures. I need more powerful glasses when I'm working this way. All right. Now, I've put all those options in, but if I leave it like that, whenever you get the survey on your phone, you're only going to be able to select one item. But you might really want to select multiple items. Like those people who spoil those surveys just tick everything, and then it's like their vote doesn't count. So don't tick everything. So instead of multiple choice with single radio button, that's what it's called, I'm going to choose check boxes just up there on the right-hand side. I've now changed it that these options are check boxes. If I scroll down to the bottom, yep, that looks all set up perfectly. On the top right-hand side, I've got a purple thing called send. So I'm going to click on that, and now it asks me how I want to send it. Instead of emailing it to all of you, because it'll take quite a while to get all your emails, instead I'm going to use this link method. So this little option here with the two little brackets beside each other. Okay, so it has the, actually I'm going to use the middle one here. That's an easier one to use. I can shorten the link, and now I've got a link that you can type in to your phone, but that's a little bit small for you to read. So we're going to try another experiment. We're going to change this link to a website address into one of those picture QR codes. So all I do is I copy that link, and in my browser, I go to QR code generator. And there are many of these available. And I think when you find one that works well for you, probably stick with that, because so many are trying to get you to buy other things, and they start throwing up windows here, there, and everywhere. So if I scroll down a little bit, ones I've used before, let's see, I think I've used qrcodegenerator.org. All right, let's try that one. It's getting serious now. I've taken off the glasses. Okay. So all I need to do is I've already copied my URL, the link to the website, the survey. I'm going to paste it in there, Control-V to paste it in. And when I do that, it automatically generates the code there as that picture. Now, from a distance, your smartphone should be able to pick up that little picture there. So if you go to your camera, and hopefully your phone is configured that it allows this. I'll just test it myself, make sure that it is working. Okay. When I click on the link that appears, at least on my iPhone, I get the little survey appearing. All right, so maybe some of you already got that far. Yeah, I can see some smiles around the place. Some people are getting it. And for that survey, I'd like you just to tick one or two boxes, and down at the bottom, submit. Okay. And then later on, we'll come back and we will take a look at the results of that survey. So I'll leave my browser window open. Even if I close it down, it's very easy to get back to the results anyway. But I'm going to leave it open for the moment. I'm going to swap back to my PowerPoint. If you haven't got it yet, then what do? I could call out all the letters in the URL, but that would make it even worse because there's always a mistake somewhere in that. So I'll leave it up there for another few seconds, take a picture of it, and then you can use your phone over someone else's phone to grab that picture of the picture. It gets very in-depth then when you do that. All right, let me swap back. And you know what? If you don't get your survey responses submitted, never mind. Because the free gift I'm talking about, you'll see that later on. That will really help. Okay. Now I'm going to do Shift F5 to go back to where I left off using Google Forms and back up here again for a little bit. So how does technology support ministry? Well, one of the things that we've been using in Sligo with CEF, we've been using Jotforms. We're changing over from printed forms where the person has to take a photo of it and send it to you, and you've got to print it out, and you're dealing with handwritten forms. These online forms can be quite powerful. In fact, at the moment, on our website, cefsligo.com, you can see I've got buttons there for registering for juniors camp or teens camp or inters camp or technology camp. And if I click on those buttons, what you'll get is you'll get straight to this Jotform. Let me check my time now. How am I doing on time? I don't want to spend too long on this element. Yeah, for the sake of time, what I'll do is, if we've time at the end and we've nothing else to do, I'll show you how the Jotform runs, how you can put comments into it, and what happens at the end whenever you press that all-important submit button. So I'll talk about that later on, time permitting. Okay, let's go on to the next step. So we're going deeper now, not just technology surrounding your ministry, but technology within your ministry in some shape or form. There are many people around Ireland who love using technology. And some of them use their strengths and they apply it to their ministry. And here's one group that I know about. They're called For the Win Gaming. They're based in Northern Ireland somewhere. I know Gavin Mullen is one of the leaders in this group, but they've got many helpers and volunteers. And they've got a pattern of going around to youth groups and churches and spending time with young people. And they do it with their gaming, their gaming abilities and their love of gaming. And it's not all just console gaming. It's not all Xboxes, PlayStations, and PCs. It's also just tabletop gaming. They've got so many board games as well. So they like to mix it up a little bit. But they want to share their lives with these young people, and they bring a message as well, a message of the gospel. If you go to their Facebook page and look for the Win Gaming, they've got a very useful little video near the top of their Facebook feed, which is a typical example of them going somewhere and the stuff they've got to set up and what the purpose of what they're doing is. So if you want to find out about this type of ministry, go to Facebook and search for the Win Gaming. And coming up very soon in this month, they're part of Queen's University's QCon Light. So they'll have a stand there or a show there. At QCon Light should be quite interesting. Loads of different technology things coming together. Recently they had a gaming night in Desert Martin Church of the Nazarene. I know the pastor there. He's been involved with many CEF activities. That's why I just thought it was interesting. He had got them along to spend time with his congregation to encourage their young people to be involved in things. All right, now here's the next link I've got. So within CEF in Ireland, we also have Gareth and Lindsay Gwynn in Armagh, and they have a ministry called Crossfire Not Ashamed. And actually, Gareth has worked with For the Win many times, helping them share the good news about Jesus. So Gareth is really helpful when it comes to how to work with young people and their parents as well. If you go to Gareth's Facebook page as well, you'll find out some of the things he's said. You might not be able to read that very clearly. I think it's worthwhile looking at what he says about what it is like for parents and young people today. So I'm going to go back here, see if I can read. Oh, I can read it much better here. A little tag on his Facebook page is this: Crossfire Not Ashamed aims to be a gamer experience with a difference. We want to provide education, experimentation, and evangelism. Many children today have an obsession with computer games, with the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and more, being three of the fastest selling and most popular Christmas presents. That was way back in 2016. But they've not lost popularity. I would say it's still increasing. But for some parents, computer gaming is an unknown world. Either the parents bury their heads in the sand and allow their children to do or play whatever they like on their consoles, or the other extreme is some parents see no good in it at all and games consoles are banned from the home altogether. But by and large, the only teaching a child will receive on online safety will be through school, and usually that teaching only covers the dangers and pitfalls of social media. So gaming is a big thing. In education, this is what Gareth says that Crossfire Not Ashamed is about when it comes to education for parents. We can teach parents how to set up parental controls on an Xbox One console to keep their children safe whilst online and limit their children's gaming hours. In my own family, I've known that has been an issue. It's not a matter of knowing what it is right. It's a matter of forcefully implementing those restrictions. With the buy-in from our kids, they have also agreed that, it's not healthy to be on too much. But looking back as they've been growing up, probably it's turned out that maybe they have spent too much time on their games. That's something each family has to think about, the values of these things. And also, Gareth says, we can help you to understand the PEGI ratings, Pan-European Gaming Index rating system. So you can see at a glance what your children are playing and be aware of the danger. So PEGI rating would start off at suitable for age 3, suitable for age 7, for age 12, and so on, different ratings. But it's not just about teaching the parents. It's about equipping the young people to have responsibility for themselves, those who know the Lord and want to do what is right. So Gareth has a number of talks that he's written for different schools. In secondary schools, he would teach them about their own personal responsibility. Although they may be permitted to play a 15 game, it doesn't mean that they have to do it. They've got to be wise in what they're spending their time on. But also for the primary school children, he's got talks connecting with the gaming, but are related to anti-bullying and talks that are based on Scripture. So he's got some called "The Tongue is the Most Dangerous Weapon," or "Happy on the Outside and Broken on the Inside." And also, what Crossfire Not Ashamed wants to do is to have gaming events where the games are safe to play. It's a time to spend together and also to have an opportunity for evangelism. That's the last point there in this, Romans 1:16. I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to those who believe, first for the Jew and then for the Gentile. And so the focus of Crossfire Not Ashamed is to, through these events, fulfill the Great Commission, preaching the gospel and edifying those who are saved. What he says at the end here is quite interesting. We don't like to think about this, but it is true. The devil is a roaring lion seeking to devour what? The souls, devour the souls and corrupt the minds of our children. And we need to be amongst the children, telling them that there is a better way, the Lord Jesus Christ. So I think that came out in our Bible message this morning, pointing always to Jesus. Okay, so Gareth has had, with Lindsay, have had many events. This is a typical setup for one of the in-person events they've had. But also during COVID, they managed to use sort of distance gaming events. This one here is a little screenshot of Minecraft. So using Minecraft Realms, they were able to host a world and get up to 10 players joining on one account. And then they had multiple Xboxes hosting accounts. It does cost a little bit to pay for Minecraft Realms. But with that, you can host your world. And they were able to actually copy the same world using a little seed number onto each of the controlling consoles, so everyone was playing on the same game map. And in advance of their technology camp, this Minecraft camp, they prepared a space in this world where their kids were supposed to spend their time making their creations. And later on, actually, the leaders, the controllers of these accounts, could actually stop the building. So whenever it came to time for, they actually used videos to do the Bible teaching during this Minecraft camp. So when the teaching was going on, they had actually blocked the building, so the kids couldn't do anything in Minecraft anyway. So it was a really nice way of handling it. And sometimes they would use Zoom connections. But a lot of that could be done just by shared playing within the world. They actually used Zoom sessions for shared audio, but they didn't use the video in their Zoom. The Zoom allowed them to have audio between each other as they were working on their own consoles, gaming with their Minecraft. That's one example of what they did. And as they go to schools and churches and have events, the question will be, what type of games can they play with their young people? So many are not suitable. So many are so competitive. It would stir up the wrong kind of things. And also when you've got mixed genders in your schools, it doesn't really work well sometimes having the certain competitive type games. So what is really helpful are cooperative games. Games like these, Human Fall Flat. That's a really funny one. Kind of little wobbly characters that move around the place. And you spend as much time laughing at what the characters are doing as actually trying to play the platform game. Overcooked 2. It's funny, Colin was talking about being undercooked. Well, this is a game about cooking online, and it's four-player game as well, so you can get more people involved. Moving Out is a funny one about furniture removal. Like if you practice that one, there's many job opportunities in your future. Speedrunners, that's a fun game as well. Rayman Legends, all of those are multiplayer co-op, up to 4 players on console. And of course, you've got Lego games as well. They're great for any age. They're just so humorous in the way they're done. But Lego games are mostly just 2-player. There's the occasional one that allows more than 2 players. But the point is, whenever you've got a big group working together, you're sort of all in the same space, and you're moving around from one game to another. So it's a community activity when you do it that way. All right, let me move on a little bit and talk about some of the things I've been doing myself in our own area in CEF Sligo. Back in 2017, we started our first technology camp. So we have our regular summer camps, residential camps, where you've got a big group of people, but there's some kids that just wouldn't be comfortable in that environment, or maybe with the type of activities that are going on. They might not be sporty, they might not have those kind of interests, so they just wouldn't work well in the big general purpose camp. So we found that the idea of having a technology camp for those particular kids that it's suited to, and our first camp That little device there on the screen is called a BBC Microbit. It's not that expensive. It's about €20, let's say. And you've got loads of little colored LEDs on it, buttons. It can detect whether it's being tilted, so you can write programs. It's got a compass built in. You can write programs for the direction it's pointing to. You can make all sorts of little games using the one little device, and you just need a laptop to connect to it to do the programming for it. And it teaches them a bit about electronics as well. And the next year, I moved on to something a little bit different. This is more advanced. I was thinking, that's a single board computer. You can see the size of it with the finger and thumb beside it. But it's a really powerful little device. So that's the Pi Zero with wireless capability built in. I thought back to my early days of computing. My brother, who's 6 years older than me, he bought his first IBM PC computer, I think it was about 1988. And he paid about £2,000 for it. And those little Pi Zeros are easily 100 times more powerful than that computer. And those little guys there, they cost about €15. So you're getting €15, 100 times 2,000. Oh, it doesn't bear thinking about. We were ripped off back in those days. At this particular camp, using the Pi Zero, I was teaching a bit of the Python programming language, which was fun. And one of the things we did was we developed together, it's called a text-based adventure game. So back in the really early days of computing, in the 1970s, when universities had these big mainframe computers, one of the first games to come out was this type of thing. So it just presents a little story. It's almost setting the scene of where you are in this story or game. It says, on the northeast side of the chasm, on this side, a rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." Not pay toll, note that one. The troll is nowhere to be seen. The bear lumbers along behind you. And then the person can type in an instruction. So he's typed in SW, which means go southwest. So he's telling the game he wants to move on to a different location. And then it says the troll steps out from beneath the bridge and blocks your way. And then this guy is trying to throw bear at troll. Now, I don't know what that's going to cause to happen. I don't know if that's possible. But in our camp, we developed a nice, interesting little game based on the life of Paul. So we were looking at Paul's second and third missionary journeys. And I had coded a little adventure game taking in some of the details of things that were happening to him on his journey. It has been a long walk through the region of Galatia. To the west, as the sun starts to set, you can see the outline of a distant city. As you quicken your pace, you may reach it before darkness makes the road dangerous. So it says there, to the west. So you want to go west. So if you typed in W and pressed enter, it would go on to the next screen. You can tell from the mighty aqueducts entering the city that it is none other than the famous Laodicea. Beyond the bridge over the river Lycus is a peculiar building. So you're engaging the children's interest in playing this game. There's little objects you can interact with. And we had this adventure based on Paul. And you can be very creative as you're making these things. So I found that a really fun camp to do. And then the last time, before COVID struck, we had another camp using these are little microcontroller boards again. They're compatible with Arduino, but they're low cost. Well, this particular one is actually quite advanced. But the cheaper Arduino boards are about €3 or €4. And they're still really powerful. You can get them to do loads of things. So I really enjoy working with that. I was thinking of technology and how things work. That's from last Monday, I think. We have, we call it a gazebo good news club. But without technology, I would have found it difficult to run this little club. Inside a gazebo, I've got my computer screen. So I've got my visuals on a monitor, and I can put my songs on the monitor. And it's all thanks to this little guy here. So we've got no way of getting power out to that. And this is like a really big, what you could say, a power bank, like for your mobile phone. Except this one is clever. It actually has a power inverter. So it's got a socket built in. So I can plug in up to 90 watts of devices into it. So it can run my laptop and it can run a big TV screen as well. So by using that guy, it's really handy. These actually are fairly hard to find. Now I found this one on Amazon not that long ago. But they won't post it to the Republic of Ireland. They won't even send it to Northern Ireland. So my daughter lives in Wales, and we were going to visit her a couple of months back. So I got her to buy me one, and then I was able to... You can take it on the plane quite easily. You can carry it in your carry-on luggage. It's no problem. Okay, so I was thinking of technology there. Now, this is technology within ministries. Let's go back to the poll, see how things were getting on. All right, just to make it easy, I'm gonna stop my show there for the moment, jump back to my browser, and there's my link at the moment. That's my QR code generator. Back to my form, and I'll close down the link to that. The survey is closed. It says, oh, someone just got in there in the nick of time. It says there are 30 responses to the poll. When I click there, you get a nice little bar chart of who is interested in what. So it's quite interesting. You've got some interest in PowerPoint, quite a lot of interest in videos and YouTube. And the top one there is interest in games. You just want to play games, don't you? I think that's what it is. Okay, and a little bit of interest all across all of them. And look at that, the people were being kind to me. They hardly voted for Zoom at all. That's very nice of you, thank you. Okay, so as you get the feedback from that, you could see how you could use surveys like that if you're working with young people. So you could create loads of questions in advance, let them use their own phone in the comfort of themselves and respond to these questions and take a look at the survey responses. All right, just back to, why did I launch PowerPoint here? Okay, this is what happens when you move too quickly down to the screen, because I've got two desktops embedded within each other, and now my system is going all weird. Okay, I'm back to normal. Right, back to the poll. Shift F5, and we're back in control again. So the thing was, I was going to do some kind of demo. Now, there was a lot of interest there in games. So what I think I will do is I will demo a simple little game that I wrote to help me with clubs and ministry. And actually, if you would like to make use of this little game, I can also make that available. I'll tell you more just at the very end. Our time is getting low, but before I demo this simple little match the pictures game, has anyone got any questions or any answers? It looks like there's answers there as well. Okay. I'm sure there are things in your mind. Yes?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask concerning the games.
Yep.
I discover these days from experience that there's some same games to play from children, but from experience, most of the children will tell you we don't like those games.
Yeah,
The one that is bad and worse that they would like to play.
that is true.
They go to school, they talk with their friends, they tell them about the latest one that has come with the shooting and stuff.
Yeah,
Come back and they say, that's what we want.
yeah.
Give them this, they will play and be watching you. The moment you're not okay, they know how to swap or run. So what's your advice on how to get them interested?
Yeah, I understand that dilemma. I think every family will try to work out what are the limits we're going to have for our family. So certain games that involve cartoon violence, some people would argue that, yeah, you can use that effectively. There's no gory elements to the game, and so what is kind of cartoon violence, just like Tom and Jerry and hammers and things like that, it's you could argue it's equivalent to that, and yet others would hold a stronger point of view. So you will get differences between different families about what they will permit, and it really is about parents engaging really well with the young people. If you're in a Christian family, you've got to talk with them and work with them, and actually the way to get them interested in those other games is probably to spend time yourself playing with them. So games like Overcooked, now I'm not very good at it, but it's a great one to play in a family environment, or speedrunners, or those cooperative games are great. Now when it comes to those first-person games where they're running around shooting people, those are the complicated ones. And if you're not permitting it, you've got to work carefully with your young person to explain why it's not good for them. Or if you're permitting the easier going ones, then spend time, if you're not playing it directly, spend time watching them do it and make them aware of they've got to be careful in who they're listening to, speaking on the other side, and how they're also talking with them. And there are controls you can have. For example, when VR came out, my son is very big into virtual reality, so he's got a few different kind of virtual reality headset things. But when you're in that environment, you can talk to other people very easily, but you can also control everything in that environment as well. You can turn off the speech for those characters who are in the game that don't have good quality speech. And you can also control whether you're speaking or not. You can turn off your own microphone. So there's many characters in those virtual worlds that are just meeting each other, bumping into each other, and some of them are silent. They don't say anything. It's like they don't hear anything, but they're still part of the game, so you can enjoy it to certain levels. So I think VR will be a big thing going into the future. It's definitely an area of growth. In fact, gaming in general is a huge growth area. When you think about esports and the money that's going into e-gaming and players who are now becoming sports personalities because they play games professionally, it's a very interesting field. Okay, I've only got a couple of minutes left. Thanks for the question. I'm going to jump back here, and it won't take long to show this simple little game. So let me click out of that. I'll minimize PowerPoint, minimize my browser, minimize that. And I think on my desktop, I've got a shortcut to match the pictures. Let's see, where have I put it? Yeah, this is typical. When you don't want it, it's there in front of you all the time. And when you do want it, you can't find it. Match the pictures. Can't see it. Okay. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, when I was setting up earlier on, the laptop I was going to use at the back was not working for me. So I had brought a spare laptop, which is handy, but I think it has it on it. But where is it? That's the question. What we'll do is we'll do a quick scan into our folders. So I'm pretty sure on the desktop I have it. Match the pictures. That must be it, mustn't it? There we go. Right, so when I run up this program, what I've got is a very simple screen there, 16 places. When you click on one of these pictures, it turns up something. And you can replace these background pictures so you're matching different things. So the sad face, and that's supposed to be Abraham lifting up his hands. They do not match each other, so you don't get points for that. So I've got two teams, Team 1 and Team 2. If I went to set up here, I can control the team names. So sometimes it works well with kids to have boys against girls. I'll type that in now. And I can decide which team starts. We'll let the boys start for a change and say OK to that. So now I've got set up, but you know where the sad face is, so that would be cheating. So instead, I'm going to reset. It's going to jumble all those pictures again. So I say yes to that, and now we're ready to go for real. So some boy, call out two numbers for me. Brilliant, thank you. That was very positive. 12, camel head, 13. Oh, what a match. Right. Now you can see a black arrow is still pointing to the boys. So once you get successful match, you get another pick. Go again. All right, 7 and 11. Can you keep up the winning streak? Oh, baby and heart. All right, the girls got to go. Give me a number. Right, we'll do 3 first of all, because it may be one we've found already. It's not. So 3 and 6. Let's see what 6 is then. We now know 4 of the pictures, if you can remember where they are. Right, give me one again. 16. Okay, let's see what that is. Thank you. Oh, number 1, okay. All right, can the girls remember? All right, 1 and 11. Yes, well remembered. Of course, if I was using this game properly, I should be asking you questions from all my seminars teaching, and only you get to play the game if you can answer the question, but we're not doing that. All right, girls get to pick again. 3, okay, and 9. Oh. All right, boys, can you remember? 7 and 9. I heard that one. Okay, you get another pick. 5 and 4. Ah, he's commiserating with you. Girls? I think I heard 8. Okay, 8. 5, 6. Any advance on 10? 6. Okay, 6 is the strongest voice. Oh, yes. Okay, girls, pick again. 14. 3. Is it 3 or 4? 3. We're confident. Yes. And another pick. 15. And 16. Okay. At this point, the boys could still draw if the girls get the next one wrong. Okay, girls, choose again. 5. 10. That sounds reasonable. Oh! Okay, boys. 10 and 4. And you get the last pick. 2 and 5. Okay. All right. So just to finish off, I'm going to jump quickly to my website, www.cefsligo.com. I'm actually going to go to a hidden page. That little card there, when you scan it with your phone, it'll bring you to this hidden page. So it is /index.php/conference 2022. And when I go there, this is what the little card will bring you to. Hopefully be quicker than that. Children's Ministry Conference. All right, so I have put in here, because I knew I wouldn't have much time here to demonstrate things or to pass on many tips and tricks. If you've got the patience for it and you want to do it, you can click on any one of these little videos here. It'll launch in YouTube, and you can take some more of my demoing of these things. Jotform, I show you how to create an account, how to create a form, how to complete it and look at your responses. PowerPoint tips and tricks, some extra elements of PowerPoint. Excel basics and Excel really tough stuff. Automation in the background. Not that I'm going to teach you all that, but I'm showing you how I use some of it to help in my camps and that. Power Director for making videos, YouTube channels, website, this website, how I maintain the website, and some custom code. And in there you've got the Match the Pictures game. I explain it, and if you'd like it, just send me an email and I can email you back the program. It's just a simple file and a folder and it'll all be explained in the videos. I think that is my time. Thank you for listening so much.